All right, welcome back. Before we begin, I want to offer a gentle but important reminder. Shadow work and soul alchemy can stir some very deep emotions, memories that you might not want to face, but you need to, and hidden parts of the psyche that you might not want to recognize is actually there. So, if at any point this work feels overwhelming, destabilizing, or too heavy to navigate alone, please reach out to a licensed therapist or a mental health professional. There is strength in seeking support, and healing does not require isolation. The journey is powerful, but it is not meant to be walked without care. So, you have to use your own discernment and recognize your own needs. With that said, welcome back, beautiful souls, to Rise from the Ashes. I am your host, Tamara, and today we will step even deeper into the Nigredo, the alchemical night where truth is stripped bare and the psyche reveals its hidden architecture. This is episode 5. It's called Archetypes in Our Psyche. Um, Every one of us carries a constellation of archetypes, living patterns that shape how we think, how we feel, how we act. Jung described the process of individuation as the lifelong weaving of these fragments into your unity. Now, these archetypes are not, I repeat, they are not abstract ideas, and I have said this before. They are your inner voices, your inner characters, the inner forces that shape who you are. Okay? We meet with these parts of ourselves every single day. The persona. We show this part of us to the world. It's in the shadow that we hide. It's in the child, the inner child that we protect. It is in that sassy saboteur that resists your success. And it is the victim that longs for compassion. Today, we explore these archetypes as stations in our laboratory, our crucibles, where hidden aspects of us melt, refine, and integrate. So, these archetypes form the inner chorus of our identity. And one of the loudest voices is the persona. And this is the mask that is crafted carefully for society's expectations. We wear different types of masks, and it depends on the space that we are in. This is a fact. It is part of being human. We have our professional mask, we have our family mask, we have the social mask, and the digital creator mask. They're all a part of us. But in our modern world, social media amplifies our persona in filtered posts, curated posts, and even your personal brand often hides your true vulnerability. In workspace environments, you behave differently. There's professionalism, and that can become a mask that suppresses your creativity or even your emotions. Do you see how this works? So, over time, Jung, if you study him, explains that this framework can be expanded into 12 different archetypes, each one representing a facet of your human being or the human being, because we all have them. It doesn't matter who we are. We all have every one of these. So the innocent, which is the archetype that seeks happiness and simplicity. You have the caregiver. Yes, men, you can be caregivers too. Don't dismiss that. But that's the part of you that embodies compassion and service to others. The creator or artist, depending on which word you choose to use, it doesn't matter. That's the archetype that's driven by innovation to create and build, using your imagination to build anything. It could be anything. The explorer. This is one of my favorites. It's the one that values freedom and authenticity, kind of taking everything to the edge a little bit. And there's also the hero, the one that proves worth through courage and skill. There's the outlaw or the rebel that challenges and even tries to help overturn power structures. There's the lover that longs for intimacy and connection. The jester revels in joy and presence. The sage pursues truth and knowledge. The magician transforms vision into reality. The ruler seeks to control and order. And then there's the everyman, has desires and belonging and connection. So you've seen these archetypes everywhere. You've felt them all. The hero in your athletes, the entrepreneurs that you look up to, the jester in meme culture, the ruler in corporate leadership. These archetypes are mirrors, each reflecting a part of you waiting to be acknowledged. Now, among all these archetypes, the inner child holds a very sacred place in shadow work. This is the tender part of you, the part that carries childhood memories, unmet needs that keep festering and cycling through your life. You can't seem to escape them. Those emotional imprints that weigh you down, trigger you sometimes, brings you back into that sadness, maybe even to that happiness. That's the trick. When wounded, the inner child becomes tucked away in the shadow. All the things that made you happy just kind of get forgotten. Gets tucked away in that shadow, in like a place where it holds your pain, the pain that's too overwhelming for the young person to process. So abandonment, if you experience that for the first time in your childhood, chances are you're going to end up in a cycle of it because it's in your shadow and it's tugging you down. So healing the inner child is not about revisiting the past, though, to resuffer. It is about reclaiming the parts of you that were left behind, the parts of you that were denied happiness and joy and peace and safety and calm. So it takes work. It takes acknowledging it. That's the first step. Just recognizing. Really, you're not here to judge yourself. You're here to recognize yourself. So one thing that you can do is keep a dream journal. I talk about it often. Our shadow often appears in our dreams. That's where it's going to show up. That's where you're going to get your first clues. And it shows up as figures, animals, or landscapes. So pay attention to your surroundings. It's a clue. Record these symbols and then reflect on what they can symbolize. You can even translate the entire dream in its entirety. So this brings me to the Saboteur. That inner voice that whispers, you will fail. You don't deserve joy. Why even try? Like, what are you trying to prove to yourself? So you end up giving up. You drop the ball. You tuck the project away. Say, maybe there'll be a better time. Is there ever going to be a better time? No. That's your saboteur, though. You don't really want to fail. You don't want to experience failing. It's better to say you just decided to wait until a better time than to say you actually failed. Well, I have tried so many different things in my life and failed a million times, and for some reason I don't get deterred. So, but I still got to stay out of my own way and make sure that I stay focused and driven and keep my list going. So, but just remember, the saboteur is not here to destroy you. It is here to protect you. That's what it's doing. It's in its own misguided way trying to keep you safe. Keep that in mind. That's why it's important to get to know. It fears your vulnerability, it fears rejection, and it fears the unknown. So it's going to try to protect you. Protect. And to be honest, it appears strongest when you're close to a big breakthrough. So, in knowing when your saboteur is up to its old tricks, that's when you put yourself in check. Okay, keep yourself in mind that you do know your best good, and that has to be your aim at all times. Don't let that saboteur tell you any differently. You can start building a conversation with your saboteur to understand its motivation. Ask, what does it fear? And remember to respond with compassion when you finally realize what it's actually fearing. Okay, identify your fears. Take the power away from the saboteur. Okay, turn it around. All right. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the victim archetype. The victim archetype reveals the part of you that feels powerless, shaped by your past pain, and it longs for compassion. In its shadow form, it clings to blame, helplessness, and that martyr feeling. Okay? So, integration transforms the victim into a powerful teacher. Getting to know yourself, you become really powerful in understanding how you work. This teacher is one that guides you toward your own inner agency, towards your own responsibility, towards your own self empowerment. It puts you in check. It makes you hold yourself accountable. So, how you can integrate this victim into your life in a meaningful way is write down one recurring complaint that you have, then reframe it as an opportunity for agency. When you feel like a victim, ask yourself, could you have done something differently to create a different outcome? What was your role? Did you not do enough? Don't be afraid to admit when you haven't. Call yourself out. Did you do something that didn't help the situation? Maybe you put yourself in a situation you shouldn't have been in, regardless of what happened to you. Was there something that got you there? It is okay to acknowledge what got you there. Don't judge yourself, but understand it, recognize it, reframe it, and plan for different for the next time around. So the journey through these archetypes is not about perfection. It is about integration. It's about teaching you how to transform in a cycle of transformation. You descend into that shadow, you purify your thoughts, your way of being. And then you are that phoenix rising from the ash. It's a cycle, it's ongoing. Okay. So by acknowledging the persona, by acknowledging the saboteur, by acknowledging the victim archetype, you're not letting it rule you. Okay? By embracing the inner child, you give it that space that it needs to live, to be happy, to experience the happiness it should have experienced all along. By transforming the saboteur into a tool, putting it in check and understanding it. And by reclaiming that victim, you step into the fullness of your inner star. You become both a magician and artist, capable of transmuting pain into wisdom, fragmentation into unity, and vision into reality. So, remember, dear travelers, when you travel into your inner realms, you're going to always stay close to this Nigredo stage. So may these archetypes that you've met become your lanterns in the dark, guiding you towards a deeper sense of knowing and understanding of yourself, giving yourself the space that you need to actually be your true self. And don't be afraid of how long it takes to bring yourself out. You have to transform every part of you. Okay, with that said, in our next episode, we descend even further into the dirtier, grittier corners of the psyche. where the shadows cling and the truth refuses to stay buried. It is there, in that raw, unfiltered depth, that the next stage of alchemy begins. So, until then, walk gently, breathe deeply, and remember, every fragment you reclaim becomes another ember in the fire that helps you rise from the ashes. Signed in light and darkness, transmuted into wisdom. I am Tamara from Rise from the Ashes, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.